Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're getting into something I think, well, basically everyone struggles with at some point. That feeling of being stuck.
Okay.
That suffering loop where you keep doing something. Maybe it's stress eating, maybe it's putting things off, maybe just scrolling endlessly, even though it just leads to feeling bad. Anxiety, guilt, all of it.
Yeah, it's that loop. It feels completely irrational, doesn't it? You know the outcome is negative, but you're pulled back anyway?
Exactly. Powerless.
Well, our sources today suggest it's maybe less about willpower and more about how we've wired things up in our heads, our associations.
Okay.
They introduced this technique. It's called timeline splitting. And the whole idea is to basically rewire the emotional link between what you do and how you feel about it afterwards.
Rewire the link. Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then, to figure out how this timeline splitting thing actually works.
Pretty much. We're going to unpack the steps. There are 9 of them, apparently.
Yeah.
And really focus on how our subconscious connects, well, pleasure and pain to what we do, sometimes in really surprising ways.
Right, because it seems like it should just be pain with these habits, but it persists.
That's the absolute core insight here. The behavior sticks around because there's always some kind of immediate, maybe temporary reward, a little hit of pleasure. And that pleasure, whether it's escaping something uncomfortable for a minute or just, a quick bit of gratification, it balances out the pain that comes later.
So there's a hidden payoff.
Exactly. If that immediate benefit wasn't there, the behavior probably wouldn't be either.
Yeah.
We have to kind of face that reward head on.
Okay. Let's get into it. So, step 1, we're going to split this timeline. We need to know what timeline we're splitting, right?
Yeah.
Define the problem.
Precisely. And step 1 demands real clarity. Identify the problematic state or the compulsive behavior. You can't just say, I need to be healthier. That's too broad.
Right. Too vague.
Totally useless for this. You've got to zero in on the specific repeatable thing you do that keeps happening, even though it messes things up.
So, not just I overeat, but I eat, a whole pint of ice cream standing at the freezer after 9 p.m. when I feel stressed.
Exactly that specific. Or I open Instagram within 30 seconds of hitting a difficult paragraph while writing. Naming the beast, as you said earlier.
Got it. So you know exactly what you're targeting.
Yes. And once you've got that definition crystal clear, step 2 is about connecting, really emotionally, to the current pain and suffering.
Okay, so not just thinking, this is bad for me.
No, this is where a lot of approaches fall short, I think. They stay too intellectual. Here, you need to tap into the actual feeling right after the behavior. That self-disappointment, the guilt, maybe shame, frustration.
The immediate yuck factor.
Yeah, the visceral stuff. You have to ask yourself, honestly, how much pain am I actually in right now because I just did this?
And the goal is to make that feeling strong enough.
Strong enough to actually want to change, yeah.
Yeah.
To make staying the same feel, genuinely painful right now.
But what if it's not? What if we're good at ignoring that immediate pain?
Well, that's where step 3 comes in. Because you're right, we are good at denial. Step 3 is about projecting that pain into the future, connecting to the future pain and suffering. This uses visualization.
Right. So if I keep doing this specific thing, let's stick with the overeating example. What does my life look like in a year?
Exactly. Or 5 years. Or 10 years. And again, it needs to be concrete.
Not just I'll be unhealthy.
No. Visualize the specific consequences. Maybe seeing yourself lacking the energy to play with your kids, or picturing the brain fog affecting your work, or seeing how it strains relationships. You want to make that future really, really vivid.
And this leads to something called the starting station.
Yes, the starting station.
Yeah.
It sounds like an endpoint, but it's actually the place you launch from.
Okay, explain that.
It's that imagined future point where the suffering has become so intense, so unbearable that you have this powerful visceral reaction like, no more. I absolutely cannot let this happen.
So it's not just fear, it's like rejection.
Absolute rejection, a gut feeling. You're trying to make the idea of continuing the behavior feel repulsive, creating this strong push away from that future.
Wow. Okay, so you've stared into that painful future, felt it, and now step 4 sounds like a complete U-turn. Identify the benefits, the pleasure of the bad habits.
This is the step. Step 4, identify and quantify the benefits. And yes, it feels totally counterintuitive. This requires radical honesty.
Because you have to admit you actually get something positive out of the thing that's hurting you.
Exactly. And it's often where people stumble because it's uncomfortable. But if you skip this, the technique won't stick. The cycle comes back. You have to be brutally honest about the temporary, maybe superficial win you get. What need is it meeting right now?
Okay, so for procrastination, maybe the benefit isn't really peace, it's avoiding the discomfort of starting a hard task, that momentary relief.
Precisely. Or maybe it's the adrenaline rush of the last-minute deadline. For anger outbursts, maybe it's a fleeting feeling of control or like intimidating someone into backing down. There's always a payoff.
And the sources call this equilibrium.
Equilibria, yeah. It's this core idea that the behavior only exists because, subconsciously, the immediate pleasure gain is currently balancing out the long-term pain.
Much a scale.
Exactly like a scale. Your brain is doing this quick calculation. 5 minutes of comfort now is somehow worth 5 years of feeling bad later. It's a trade-off.
Which makes a weird kind of sense, evolutionarily speaking. Immediate survival rewards over abstract future ones.
It does clarify the struggle, doesn't it?
Eh.
Our wiring prioritizes that quick dopamine hit. So we've got the future pain really clear and horrible, and we've got the deceptive present pleasure clear. Now what?
Now the split. Step 5.
Now the split. Step 5 is timeline splitting itself, often called the break state. This comes right after you've intensely felt both the pain and the pleasure.
And this involves doing something physical, like clapping. That sounds odd.
It does sound a bit odd, I know, but it's crucial. You perform a small, unrelated physical action. Clapping, jumping, sharply changing your posture, maybe snapping your fingers, something totally disconnected.
Why unrelated? Why does that matter?
That's the key to the split. You've just saturated your mind with this whole emotional sequence, the pain, the pleasure, the loop. To break that specific neural pattern, you need an interruption that's completely outside of it.
Ah, like hitting a reset button, a pattern interrupt.
Exactly, a neurological circuit breaker. You're physically jarring your system out of that state you just deliberately created. It signals really clearly to your brain that sequence is done. The old path is broken.
The timeline is split. Okay, so the old wiring is hopefully disrupted. Now we need to build a replacement, right?
Right. On to the constructive part. Step 6. Create a new plan. Define the desired state. So you visualize what life looks like without the problem behavior, the healthy, productive you.
But just visualizing isn't enough, you said.
No, visualization's good, but you need concrete actions. So you define positive substitutes. These are specific, healthy actions you can take instead of the old behavior.
And, crucially, they need to meet the same underlying need.
That is absolutely key. If the old habit, say, stress eating, gave you comfort, your substitute needs to provide comfort too. Maybe calling a friend, meditating, or listening to calming music. Just going for a run might not cut it if the need was comfort, you see.
Right, the run might meet a need for energy release, but not comfort.
Exactly. If the old habit gave you novelty, like scrolling, maybe learning a new skill, starting a creative project, you replace the function, not just block the action.
Okay, find a healthy way to get the same underlying need met. Makes sense. So we have these substitutes. Now make them stick.
Now make them appealing. Step 7. Connect the desired state and positive actions to pleasure. We basically flip what we did earlier.
So instead of future pain for the old habit, it's future pleasure for the new one.
Precisely. You project forward again 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. But this time, you vividly imagine and feel the amazing results of sticking to your new plan, your positive substitutes.
Feeling the energy of being healthy, the satisfaction of getting things done, the peace from handling emotions constructively.
Yes. You connect those powerful, positive future feelings directly to the small substitute actions you'll take today. You're training your subconscious. This new path leads to deep, long-term pleasure.
Reinforcing the positive loop.
Building that new equilibrium. But before you dive in, there's a reality check. Step 8, compatibility check and future pacing.
Okay, what's that involve?
It's basically stress testing your new plan mentally. Does it actually fit your life? Does it align with your core values?
What would be a conflict?
Well, say you deeply value quiet time, but your plan involves joining a loud, busy sports team every night. That might clash. Or if your substitute requires hours you simply don't have.
So you ask yourself.
Questions like, is this actually doable for me? Does this feel right? Does it align with who I am? And really important, can I genuinely see myself doing this, maybe even enjoying it, down the road?
Because if it feels like a constant forced struggle,
it won't last. It has to feel reasonably authentic and sustainable. If it doesn't pass the check, you tweak the substitute. Go back, redesign it until it feels right.
Okay. Adjust until it fits.
Yeah.
And then the final step, step 9.
Step 9, define milestones and commitment to the future. This is where the plan hits the ground. Make it real.
So not just, I'll start meditating.
No. Define the very first small, concrete steps. Like, tomorrow morning I will download that meditation app. Or, tonight, instead of ice cream, I will call my sister. Your first 3 baby steps.
To make it immediate and tangible.
Yes. And then commit. Commit to starting, and also commit to potentially repeating this whole 9-step process if you feel yourself slipping back. It's not necessarily a one-shot deal. It's a tool for change, and sometimes you need to use it more than once.
Okay, so pulling it all together, this timeline splitting works by essentially manipulating our brain's natural tendency to link actions with feelings.
Exactly. You make the future pain of the old habit feel incredibly real now. You honestly identify the sneaky present pleasure it provides. That creates the motivation, the rejection.
Then you break that connection with the pattern interrupts.
Right, the break state. Yeah. And then you build a powerful, compelling emotional pull towards the new behavior by linking it to future pleasure and making sure it actually works for you.
So you're creating this strong push away from the past and an equally strong pull towards the future you want, changing the subconscious math.
That's a great way to put it. Changing the math.
You know, thinking back through the steps, that step 4 really stands out. The need for brutal honesty about the pleasure side of the bad habit.
It really is the linchpin, I think. We like to think our bad habits are just bad. But admitting they serve a purpose, however temporary or unhelpful long-term, is key. They're meeting some need right now.
That temporary relief, that equilibrium you mentioned.
Exactly. Which leads to a really interesting question for you listening. How might just recognizing that concept, equilibrium, the idea that the pain and pleasure of your unwanted habit are currently balanced in your mind, how might that change how you think about changing it this week?
It stops being just a moral failing, maybe, and becomes more like a calculation you can actually influence.
Precisely. It's a trade-off your brain is making.
No.
And this technique gives you a way to consciously disrupt that trade-off.
So maybe the challenge this week is look at your own suffering loop, feel the pain, sure, but really dig into that hidden benefit. What's the payoff? What are you actually buying with that behavior right now?
Finding that might just be the key to unlocking your own break state.